Welcome to Revival Hour. This is Brother John. We have an exciting time together here, and we're right here at Mission Mart here in Halifax, Nova Scotia with Michelle Porter. And I tell you, there's so many exciting things happening here in her ministry and what God has been doing for the many, many years. I remember I first met her in Cape Breton at a resort there, and we were able to chat for a bit. Then when I moved here to Halifax, we were able to see more of what God was doing in her, through her, and for her, and her husband, of course. So I'd like to welcome her, but don't forget, whatever is happening on Sunday nights and everything else, pay attention to that. We're at 2668 Joseph Howitt Drive here. We're renting St. James Anglican Church, and things are really happening over there. So let's welcome Michelle Porter, and this is what I want to do. I want Michelle just to open up and let us know. I believe she moved from west of Canada, I think Winnipeg, and then so let her tell us this story and how came about to where she's at right now, because amazing things here are happening in the HRM. Thank you, Michelle, for coming, and let us know what's happening.
Well, thanks for having me on your show. Yeah, we did meet in Cape Breton, where you put my best friend from Regina and I up at a resort, and it was awesome. That was my first time on Cape Breton Island, and man, I've been back many times since because it was so awesome. Yeah, that's right. We first got our start in rescue ministry in Winnipeg, but after that, we moved to Regina and started Souls Harbour Rescue Mission Regina. And so it was from there that we came to Halifax directly. Basically, in Winnipeg, we got our training. It was our training years. We had just graduated from Bible college, and we wanted to learn how to start a mission. We thought originally, we're going to be foreign missionaries because we're trained as missionaries, but God had other plans and found out we can minister right in our own country. And so we pretty much did everything from the broom to the Bible at Union Gospel Mission in Winnipeg. Literally, night watchman, janitorial, volunteer coordinator, and we really got our feet wet as far as the whole picture of ministry. And we settled in on recovery programming, and it became our expertise over the years. And we were able to start the Life Change Recovery Program there. And eventually we moved, not knowing anyone, to Regina, Saskatchewan, where we started a mission called Souls Harbour. Actually, it was called Regina Rescue Mission at first. And there we set up shop, and eventually we merged with a local soup kitchen called Souls Harbour. And so we thought, well, let's blend the names, and we became Souls Harbour Rescue Mission. And over 10 years there, we grew that mission to be the largest service provider to the homeless in the province. We were a member of the Citygate Network, and they work with 300 missions in North America. And Citygate came to us and said, hey, would you consider planning a gospel rescue mission in the Maritimes? Well, or at least would you do a needs assessment? We're like, yeah, we'll do a needs assessment for you. Free trip to the Maritimes, very cool. Because, if you're from Western Canada, you kind of think Canada ends in Ontario. So off we came. It was Thanksgiving. I remember having our little Thanksgiving dinner, just Ken and I at Murphy's on the Water. We didn't know a soul here. And we phoned back and said, you know what? There is a need. There's a lot of good things happening, but a specific focus for a gospel rescue mission and a lunch program is a great place where we could start. Okay, great, they said. Will you start it for us? We're like, well, that's a different story. Because we had already grown our ministry and we were getting a good salary. We were serving 100 people a night, 300 people a day for meals, that kind of thing. Anyway, they said, well, if you don't go, no one will go. You're all we have because you're debt-free, you don't have any kids, you've planted a mission before, and most of our members are either not able to come because of that or they're in America. They're not going to do it. So long story short, we said yes, packed everything we owned into the back of our Matrix, sold the rest. And we came here and supported ourselves for 2 years until we were able to take a little salary from Souls Harbour. And we started on Kennard Street, where we still are. And yeah, that's the beginnings.
Wow, that's amazing. And, tell us how God brought you from A to B and B to C and C to D, because, from Kennard Street, that's where it all started, and you're still there. But it went from there to somewhere else, and now we are at this amazing building over here where we need so many volunteers over here. I got my wife here coming every Friday, and now I'm going to have my son come in here. He has to do 40 hours. Not because he's grounded or anything like that. It's just a project from Halifax Christian Academy. So tell us how God brought you from A to B and C and that.
Okay, well, actually, would you believe I actually worked with your wife unaware on Friday night, I think it was. I was here working late, and at the end of the night, you waltz in. I'm like, do you two know each other? And she's like, I'm his wife. I'm like, what? So, yes, she was amazing, and I was bossing her around all night. Whoops. We had a lot of fun together, though. She was like, can I buy the shoes? I know I'm on duty. I'm not supposed to. I said, just stash them somewhere. And you could buy them at the end of your shift. But, yeah, A to B to C to D is where we're at. I remember that first meal at the soup kitchen on Kennard Street, and we had 18 people come that first day in June, and we shared one pumpkin pie that we literally cut into that many pieces, and hot dogs and soup, and we became known as the Hot Dog Mission. And now we're blessed enough to have a chef, and we serve over 55,000 meals a year across the province. Yeah, so it's pretty incredible. From there, we met Pastor Vicky, who's a lay pastor in Bridgewater, and she had a heart to serve and really wanted to start a soup kitchen. She came to me just looking for some tips and advice, and I said, I can do better. Why don't we do it together? And the rest is history. The board was excited about it, and first, it took a while for us to find a building. She just decided to put everything in the back of her truck in the middle of winter. She served soup and hot chocolate on the back of her truck. Yeah, and so we opened in the South Shore, and that's already paid for. The whole mortgage was paid off. The South Shore has just completely taken that little place under their wing. And it's very different than Halifax in that we have women and little kids, and we have baby showers and bridal showers, and just that home feel with a small town, right? What do you talk about at the Halifax location? Oh, like politics and just a completely different city feel. And the board, when we started Bridgewater, said, well, we have a real heart for Truro, so we'd like you to add that to the strategic plan. Well, one thing led to another, and a building came for sale, and we were ready. We were prayed up. It was already on our strategic plan. We, within a week, had a facility in Truro. Not paid off yet, but we've only been open a few months, and we're already seeing up to 60 guests there. Yeah, and the culture there is music. It's just funny how every place has its own thing, and every day people come with their instruments. It's like a kitchen party every day at the soup kitchen, so it's pretty incredible. Yeah, so we have a Pastor Matt who runs it, as well as a summer student, Taylor, who will also be staying on with us after the summer, so we're excited to see that happen. Meanwhile, we want to continue to expand our programs and services. We won that Aviva campaign, $100,000, 3 times actually. And it's pretty crazy. The first time we renovated our kitchen and made it commercialized in Halifax. The second time we made our place accessible. And this third time we were able to add a floor and build a recovery shelter. So that is under construction right now. It's like 2 buildings in one. And that's why I'm at Mission Mart all the time, because my office is under construction. But we're really excited to see that opening up late summer or fall.
And what is your plans there on Kennard Street? I know that you had a little church services there on Wednesday nights, and now you're turning it into drug outreach. And that, maybe tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, well, especially once the 10 guys live there, we're looking specifically to men in the margins who are homeless not because they don't have a home, but because they have other life-controlling problems, perhaps mental health, perhaps addictions of various kinds. And so we'd like to work with them one-on-one and see them, see volunteers like yourself coming and saying, you know what, I'm going to come every Monday night and I'm going to just spend time with these guys, and we're going to play games, or we're going to do music, or whatever it is, to where you can speak into their lives and realize that there's more to life and that you can have friendships and hope. And that's kind of our tagline. No one is without hope, because nowadays, you know, you just see people who they think they have to end their life, or oh, well, I'm just going to go on methadone for my whole life because I'll never get free of this addiction. And it's like, you know what? If you really want freedom, you can find it, and we're going to help you do that. So that is what we're looking forward to. So.
And now we're coming into Mission Mart. And I hope that you put me in on the list to help you out there with all the drug addiction and that. I mean, I can help a lot there. And is your husband is heading that up, right?
Yeah, so Ken will head up that and get the program up and running, but we're going to need a lot of volunteers. We're a little bit more particular about the volunteers that we'll have there, in that we would like them to be men like yourself who have that experience, a little bit of background, so that it's not just fun and games, but if somebody is struggling, you can come alongside them and say, well, here's what has helped other people who've been in this situation. So you can either see it because you've been through it, or you can see it because of your experience working, in a teen challenge, was it? Other capacities, yeah. So we're excited. I'll put you down for one night. And then to pay for the shelter and to pay for perhaps a future women's ministry home, we just decided to open a thrift store. And that's where we are right now in Mission Mart. Yeah. So we're sitting here in the Book Nook, which is probably thousands of books. We sell like upwards of 200 books a day here. The prices are phenomenal and people know it and they just keep coming back for their... Not everybody's using a Kindle, that's for sure. Not when you can get a book for $1.79, right? Yeah. So that dream to reality was probably a year for Mission Mart. It really isn't that long considering we're sitting in a 17,000 square foot store. Yeah, it's really amazing. So my friend knew that I was wanting to one day start a thrift store, and she met a gal who actually has started thrift stores in her life. And so this lady was literally looking for a job. It was like a God moment. And I said, hey, Charlene, would you like to start a thrift store for Souls Harbour? And she said, at my Bible study 2 weeks ago, I literally told my group that I would love to work for Souls Harbour one day. So you can see how that just got lined up perfectly. And a year later, here we are. And we're sitting in a store that has a roundup program where, if you're paying $4.79, would you like to round that up to the nearest dollar for Souls Harbour? And in 4 months, we've rounded up over $12,000. Just pennies on a purchase, right? So you can see how critical this is going to be to our budget and our bottom line in the end.
And how can people help out over here? I mean, we have needs for clothing and for shoes, the purses, maybe televisions. What are the things that you're looking for, and what are the things that you don't want? Because you don't want a bedroom suite over here, maybe, I don't know. So tell us what you got, and then tell us how the finances came in to make this dream happen.
Yeah, so as for where do we get the stuff that we're selling? It's definitely from people like you and me, cleaning out our closets and bringing it. We don't accept furniture. We do accept books. We accept housewares. As you said, handbags, shoes, that's a really popular section. Women's clothing, but we just want to make sure everything is in good repair. We don't have people who are going to wash the clothes. We don't have anyone who are going to repair the clothes, sew buttons and that sort of thing. That's one of the things we should probably talk about, is getting more people to help. But what makes us unique is that we are 99% volunteer driven. And so we've got a manager on duty at all times. And, with over 100 volunteers, they're making that happen. They're sorting the stuff that you bring in. Trying to think what else we wouldn't take. There's certain things we're not allowed to sell, like cribs, and we do sell some strollers if they're still in good repair. And unfortunately, we're not able to take garage sale leftovers. And that's simply, we got swamped this past weekend, the first garage sale weekend. We couldn't even move back there. So we just don't have the space. The store seems huge, but on top of the regular donations, we are just not able to process that amount of things. So, and so how did we get this building? Well, we had a benefactor who said, listen, I will build this building for you. You can pay me back as you go. You have 10 years to do it. We will not charge you interest. Yeah. And meanwhile, you can lease it. And then as you pay it back, your lease can either be decreased or whatever. So obviously the incentive is there. If you got $3 million kicking around, we no longer have to lease this place. There's no term limits. Like if I got that money today, 100% of everything that gets sold here would then be going directly into the work of Souls Harbour. Yeah, so we I call him my angel because never in a million years could I have thought that we could open a store like this. When I said open Mission Mart, it was like, you're thinking of a little storefront, 1,000 square feet, but no, 17,000 square feet. It's a 60-40 split, so we've got a really good amount in the back for sorting, receiving, just our production, but it still gives us lots of floor space. You got to come, because if it's laid out kind of like in a home sense way, there's a lot wide aisles, and we made extra wide aisles for adults with disabilities that we hope to be working with here very soon as well.
Wow, I'm shocked over here how this is the first time I heard how it came about and the great deal that God has provided. You know, what comes to mind is this, is that God's work done God's way will never lack God's supply. Hudson Taylor said that, a missionary many years ago. He's gone to be with the Lord, but I mean, it's a true fact that, you see, when we go, you see, God, you know, a lot of people are waiting for God to come and in a vision or with an angel says, you got to do this. I mean, God has already done it in the Word of God. I mean, when Jesus died, he says, it is finished. And we are completing Christ. So we already have the Word of God. All the instructions are there. I mean, there is no new instruction. He says, when you feed the poor, when you visit the ones in prison, when you do all of this, you have done it unto me. So I believe that the miracles come when we move out in God and say, Lord, here I am. Use me. And that's probably what you did back there in La La Land, there in the east, in Winnipeg and Regina and all those places, right? I've been there. Let us know there, I tell you. And but you know, I think that's amazing, because you know, even my thought is this: it's amazing when God's people come together in one mind. I believe that, you know, I mean, in the Tower of Babel, you know, the Lord had to come and confuse them. And say, wow, if we don't confuse them, and there is nothing impossible for them when they come in the same mind. And I believe that that's what you have done. You have surrounded yourself with good people around you, and to make it happen up to now. And I'm sure that there is more to do. So I mean, it's just amazing. So tell us where you're located. Tell us how they can send funds. And you are a charitable organization, so I mean, before December this year, before people do their taxes, instead of giving money somewhere else, they can send a donation here and require a charitable donation from the ministry. So tell us all of those things, because you know, I believe that when the ball is rolling, that ball with God wants to continue to roll, because there is many things happening. So you started with food banks, then a ministry for the drug addicts and those in addiction, now with Mission Mart, which is amazing. This building is amazing. If you've never been here before, I mean, you need to be here. And the sky's the limit when God is in it. So tell us, because you know, we need to send money. We need to volunteer. We need to now we need a new department there. So if there is a lady out there that you're a seamstress, the one that is doing the sewing and all of that, and maybe washing machine or whatever, come on, you have a job over here, and guess what? You'll be anointed of the Lord to do it for Him. So here you are.
I always say, how do you walk on water? You got to get out of the boat. And so, you know, it's like we got out of the boat and here we are. We're walking on the water, and we hope others will come and join. We need 100 more volunteers. In the first 100 days, we trained over 100 people, and we're ready to take on that second 100 and potentially expand our hours again. So the sky is the limit here, and we're really excited to see people. The nice thing is we're open 12 hours a day and on weekends, and so it doesn't matter if and when you're available. There's probably a time slot that you can do here. The other thing is there's jobs for everyone of every ability, and so if you need a sit-down job, we've got it. If you're great with numbers, you can be a cashier. If you want to say welcome to Mission Mart and just greet and meet people, you can be a floor walker. If you love sorting clothing and looking at things that come in, you know, you can be in the production room. So much for so many people to do, and we're just so thankful that like 115 people are now with us at Mission Mart making this happen every day. Yeah. So 265 Susie Lake Crescent. And it's a little bit tricky because it's a brand new road. So you just go to the Second Cup, which is on Susie Lake Crescent, same street as Lee Valley Hardware. And then keep going till the street runs out. And then you can't miss us because there's a big sign. So 265 Susie Lake Crescent. And just come anytime. Meet the manager, meet our volunteer coordinator. We are here and really would love to show you around. And if you want to make a donation, you can make a donation to help serve at our soup kitchens. $3.11 pays for one hot meal. Or if you want to make a capital contribution, come by, talk to me, give us a call. 405-HOME, that's 405-4663. And we'd love to give you a tour of any one of our facilities, including Mission Mart.
Wow. So is there anything else that you have in the oven, cooking? I mean, you got to have, it's like, okay, when Mission Mart is in place and things are running well with all the volunteers, when the outreach for the drug addicts and addictions and all of that is in place, what is the goal of the ministry and the board?
Well, I did want to talk a little bit about what we're doing right here at Mission Mart. It was my goal to make sure that every building that we have is an outreach and a ministry. And so we are in the process of hiring a life coach who will work with adults with disabilities, who will come and do job readiness training here. We actually created a classroom where they could learn things like social skills, life skills, maybe how to balance your budget, but then also things like how to write a resume. And we want to work with other charities that are already doing these things. We're not going to reinvent the wheel, but you know, if Easter Seals is already teaching this class, perhaps they would come here and teach it for us, that kind of thing. And we're sitting here, like I said, in the Book Nook, which is also a coffee serving area. So we want to be able to teach people in the areas of hospitality, and everything else that you might do in a real retail store. But that's why we set aside some room for a coffee machine, and we'll, you know, maybe serve donuts or something like that. So between that and then the shelter build, and this still being 4 months old, it's hard to look forward. Like, it's like, oh yeah, what am I doing next? Vacation, I'm pretty sure. But beyond that, you know, there are things, you know, maybe Mission Mart Dartmouth, maybe a daycare where we could not only work with inner city kids who are subsidized, but make it as a social entrepreneurship where we can also earn money from that for other ministries. And then obviously we would love to expand and have a women's home. And being that we also work with Pathways Prison Ministry, we could have some exclusive freedom houses set up that are just for men and women coming out of prison because they have special needs.
Wow. But that's what I mean. I mean, Women's Home, I was at Teen Challenge. They opened up a small location with rooms and everything else, and they were going to do it for men. But then they said that one of the greatest needs here in Canada now is the behavior of the ladies. So they opened up one for women there, and I tell you, it's really booming over there. They're doing an excellent job, and I think that will be an expansion. That somebody will come in, hey, I'll donate, and I'll pay the rent for a year for a home here, and open it up and be able to do that. So if there is somebody listening out there and you have a heart for women, from the province or even from the Maritimes, that will come into a center here similar to Teen Challenge, but for the ladies. And I don't think Teen Challenge have one right now for the ladies here in the Maritimes or Atlantic Canada. So, hey, contact Michelle Porter. I mean, if you go to Souls Harbour and Mission Mart, and you'll find them on the internet there, and she gave the phone number. She'll give it before we go. But I mean, these are things that we need to do. I believe, you know, that in Joshua chapter 1, verse 3 says, you know, whatever we put our souls down will possess the land. And I believe that one way that we can all here help is by coming together and making an impact in the province. That, you know, Christians here in the province, we're not here only to preach, but we're here to meet the needs of the people. And that's, you know, they said, you know, when you go to the mission field to a poor country, don't preach to them, first feed them, then you have the right to maybe tell them about Christ. And wouldn't that be nice that you can team up with a ministry that is already rolling as Souls Harbour is, that we're able to do that. So I encourage churches out there, Send volunteers over here. Send, maybe once a month, pick up an offering, whether it be $10 or $100 or $1,000. Somebody out there that wants to do something for a women's shelter, a women's ministry here in the city that will touch the lives of many here. And, there is money out there. I mean, don't hold it. I mean, I know people that have tons of money. Tons of money. And you know what? They're waiting for the rainy day when the real estate will go up. What about if you die today with all that money in the bank? What's going to happen? People are going to take it over. And maybe they're not going to be as good as you were with your funds. So why don't you do something for the kingdom of God? John Wesley, he made a lot of money, I guess, preaching and going here and there and everywhere. But they said that when he passed, he only had $37 to his name. But guess what? The Wesleyan churches started. And amazing things happen after that. So, there is no entrance fees in heaven. The only entrance fee in heaven is this: you got to be born again to enter the kingdom of God. You got to believe, you got to repent, you got to ask Jesus to come into your life and serve him and do all that you can here on earth. And I believe, that is what God is calling us to. So I encourage churches and business people just to send some funds in this direction and be part of what God is doing here in Nova Scotia. So, and the Maritimes. So, Michelle, give us a little greeting to go out, and give us a phone number as well where they can reach you.
All right. So thank you for having us on your show. It's exciting. Our number here to get a hold of us is 902-405-4663. That's 405-HOME. Would love to talk to you. And you know what? It's like, I like what you said about, you want to latch onto something that's already going and, die broke. Maybe that's the new saying, but I did not know that about the Wesleyan Church, and that's incredibly moving to me. And so people said, well, Michelle, if you did all this for business, you'd be a millionaire. I said, no, because the only reason it's blessed is because I said I'm going to do it for God. So thank you so much for that.
Well, the Bible says, store up your treasures where? In heaven, not at the TD Bank or a Scotia Bank or any of those banks, but in heaven. How do we do that? It's not cash, it's our deeds, is what we can do for Christ when we reach out to somebody that is homeless, somebody that is in need, somebody that oppressed, somebody that has an addiction, somebody that needs a shelter, somebody that needs a hug, a love, the hand extended. But yes, he ended up with, I think it's $37. That's all he had left when he passed, but, he made an impact in the world. And that's what I always pray for. I says, Lord, let me be the spark to catch the fire. I don't want to be the fire. I want to be the spark. So that means, let us make an impact where we are. Because, when we go to heaven, he's going to ask us, he says, what do you do where you were? So if you lived in Halifax, what do you do to impact the city of Halifax or Nova Scotia or the Maritimes, whatever you are? So this is exciting. And, God is in the move, and you said it. Why start a new ministry when there is already one rolling? So jump on board. We don't need any bosses and people to tell us what to do or tell Michelle what to do. I think that she's proven herself in the work of God, and nobody's going to do it perfect, of course, according to your books. But you know what? You can do financially. You can do volunteer, come over here, go to Souls Harbour. We're planning now, out of our school of discipleship that we have here in the city, we're planning to send a team over there once every 2 weeks or maybe once a month and be able to feed those that will come there on Saturday mornings and be able to minister to them the love of Christ and maybe give them a hug. And maybe to say, what? God loves you and we love you. And that's wonderful. So let me say a word of prayer. Father God, thank you for the wonderful things that you're doing here in the Maritimes. Thank you, Lord, for the privilege that we have in serving you. Thank you for Michelle and Ken and all the board and the leaders of this ministry. We pray, God, that you will continue to give them wisdom and guidance in the name of Jesus Christ. And we thank you and we give you all the praise, all the honor, and all the glory, for we ask it in no other name but in Jesus' name. Amen. Anyway, so this is Brother John. Don't forget, this coming Sunday at 6 p.m. We'll be waiting for you. And this is Revival Hour. We're fighting for you. God bless you. Bye for now.